Well, spring is finally here, which means, alas, it's also tax filing season. So I want to take a few moments to answer the top 3 tax questions that I get around this time of year. Chances are you've probably wondered about at least one of them, and knowing the answers may help you avoid hassles in dealing with the IRS, or maybe even save you a few bucks. So the first question I often get at this time of year is, what if I'm just not ready to file my taxes by the April 15th deadline? Is there anything I can do so I don't end up in trouble with the IRS? And the answer, fortunately, is yes. You can get a 6-month extension of the tax filing deadline to October 15th by filing Form 4868 with the IRS, either online or by mail. Now, you've got to file this form by April 15th, though. Otherwise, you may face a late filing penalty of 5% per month of the tax due, up to a maximum of 25%. Now, remember, even if you get an extension, you still must pay the tax you owe by April the 15th. So estimate your tax liability as best you can, enter it on Form 4868, and include your payment when you file the form. That way you will avoid interest charges as well as a late payment penalty of up to 25%. Now, the second question people frequently ask is, what if I file my return and then discover I made a mistake? What should I do? Well, if you're worried about simple math errors you made on the tax form itself, don't worry. The IRS computers will correct those and send you a notice. But if you made a more substantive mistake, maybe you forgot to take a tax deduction or credit you were entitled to, or maybe you took one that you realize you don't qualify for, then you'll want to file an amended return. To do that, you'll need to fill out Form 1040X. Now, the time limit for filing an amended return depends on what you're correcting, but if you're claiming an additional refund, you need to file within 3 years of the original filing deadline or within 2 years of paying the tax, whichever is later. You can get the skinny on all the rules by checking out the instructions for Form 1040X, which are available at the IRS website. Now, the final question that comes up most frequently is this: is there any last-minute tax break I can still take this year that will lower my taxes for 2009? Now, typically, to take advantage of a deduction, credit, or other tax break for a particular tax year, you must incur the expense or make the outlay in the same calendar year. But there is an exception. If you make a contribution to an IRA account by April 15th of this year, you can count it as a contribution for the 2009 tax year. So, for example, by contributing to a tax-deductible IRA by April 15th, you may be able to snag a deduction of as much as $5,000 or $6,000 if you're 50 or older, or you may be able to contribute to a Roth IRA. With a Roth, you don't get an immediate deduction, but future withdrawals can be tax-free. Now, you'll need to make sure you qualify for an IRA, however, which you can do by going to Morningstar's IRA calculator. So the bottom line, even if you've already filed your taxes, you may still be able to boost your refund. And if you haven't filed yet and aren't sure you'll be able to meet the deadline, well, at least make sure you get that extension in.